Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the EV build, the upgrade for the 2013 Nissan Leaf. This is the original 24 kilowatt hour pack. We are going to crack this case open, take a look at what's inside and how all the modules are laid out, a little discussion about how these work and how they interact together. And then we're going to remove everything and put in the new modules that I got from Vivne, China. It's all going to happen. And if you want to see projects like this and help support my channel, don't forget to subscribe because I got a lot more ideas, a lot more things coming up. And also, we're going to talk about how I'm going to repurpose all of these modules into my solar system. I'm going to show you how to do that and turn my small solar system into about 15 kilowatt hours of storage right here. I have it. I get to keep these modules. They're going to be repurposed at my house. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see how that's going to go. Click the notification bell. And as far as this project's ready, yeah, it's ready. Let's do this. A lot of people ask me about my caster idea. It's very simple. Here is the part from Harbor Freight. It's a 1-inch there. I put a 1-inch nut, fender washer, 1-inch nut. And I did that on all four corners. And I had to use a nut because if I didn't put this nut and fender washer here, this would erode up in here and my caster would not have swiveled. So I had to use that extra nut to give me that distance so I can swivel my caster freely and I can move this around however I want. First things first, I want to address the concern that somebody brought up on my last video about there may still be power at this plug after removing the safety plug. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on to my DC volts and put it on the 500 range. And you're going to see, I'm going to touch my leads. 0.0 volts. There's no power here. I could touch that with my fingers. I'm not going to because there's superstitious beliefs that somehow that'll be the end of me. So I do know it's safe. I could touch those if I wanted to, but again, there's no reason for me to touch those, so I'm not going to. I touched them with the leads, and they're safe. So there's no power there. Once you disconnect that, this is dead. Now, check it for residual power. Yes, there could be some power stored up in the lines that you want to make sure that it's fully gone before you actually start touching it. But we're good. Power's out. No worries there. Okay, before we get started, before you do anything, safety. This can be up to 400 volts. If you're not going to buy the proper gloves to protect yourself, don't do the job. They're cheap. I got this package here on Amazon. Fairly inexpensive. Your life is worth way more than these gloves. So, again, these are 500 volt AC, 700 volt DC, I believe. I'll have to look at the specs, but I know it's well above. This is probably sitting at about 350 to 380 volts. These gloves will protect me just fine against any voltages here. Now, first things first, when you get rubber gloves, you got to inspect them. And you need to do a visual. Make sure there are no cuts, no gaps. Now, these are brand new. I'm assuming there's not going to be any tears, but you do want to do a good visual. In between the fingers is a common place that they fail. Do a good visual. And another thing you want to do is do a air leak test. What you do is you take the cuff and you roll it. You trap the air in there and you get it to where there's a lot of pressure. Hold it up to your ear. You're listening for any hissing sound of air that could be escaping. Those gloves pass the test. Now what I want to do, I want to remove the interlock plug. Again, one side of this is live. One side of this has a high voltage. So I need to be very careful. So I'm going to go ahead and don my gloves and we're going to remove that plug. All right, I put on a my sweatshirt as well, because I don't want any bare skin to be able to come in contact with some contacts inadvertently and have that kind of voltage running through my body. I'm not a fan of it. So again, yes, you can see here, I do have the high voltage gloves on. These cottons that come with this, they're a pain in the butt. You can wear different gloves over top. You want cotton gloves. They're only designed to protect the rubber gloves. So these are sacrificial. You can wear any gloves you want, something that's more comfortable. It took me probably 10 minutes to squeeze these over the fingers. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to use the gloves that came with it just because. All right, so let's get started. There's just too many to do with a ratchet. I'm going to use my drill. And I'm going to try to get a screwdriver under here and gently pry. See that's moving there. Yeah, I could feel the silicone. I could feel the gasket material right there. So and I don't want to bend this. So we're going to have to probably apply some heat and slowly work our way around because that gasket material. It looks like this is, look at a picture of this. A little gap here. So this doesn't sit completely flush. There's a gap all the way around. So I'm wondering if I can get a knife in there and cut that, or just apply some heat and pry up on it. Let's try the heat first. Here we go. Inside of a Nissan Leaf. I'm going to be taking all of this apart, removing all these modules in preparation to install all the modules from Vivne. Now, if people were wondering and asked me, this is Panasonic. I don't see any labels on the individual modules yet, but I will take them out. Looks like there's a QR code right there. I'm going to scan that and see where that goes. But yeah, then I'm going to show you what to do with all of these modules. Now, I don't see any swelling first glance. And yes, I took my gloves off, but I'm not touching anything. my hands are just, I mean, you can see they're all wrinkled from sweat because I wore them so long. That was a pain in the butt getting that cover off because of this adhesive. And here is the original BMS. That goes to this 2013 Leaf. A lot of connectors on the bottom of it. Down there, you can see some connectors and connectors on the side. So I'm going to get to the tearing down of this after I cool off a little bit. I sweat my butt off after taking that monster cover off. You can see how all the bus bars are connected, and they connect all these. Now, if they're in series, every one of those modules is going to be flipped on the way down so they can add up the voltages. Same thing with here. I'll take both. They got the similar connections 1, 2, 3 here. They lay these on the side and run them across. So that's your big pack. That would be at the back. And those typically do better. Usually when you have failures, you'll have them in the front of the pack. And this car didn't have any failures. This was just a just degraded overall. It was down to like 72% state of health. So it's just time to upgrade it and do something bigger. All right, I'm gonna go get some food, and then I'm gonna come back and get cracking. Okay, so again, we're at the back of the pack. Got to remove all of these bolts. If there's any down there, I can't tell. I don't think so. I think they're all right here on the side. So let's get to removing the bolts and see if this back module pack can come out. Okay, next on the agenda, after I get my electrical safety gloves on, because this has still got enough power here to kill me. So, again, safety first. If you are not going to wear gloves, these high voltage protection gloves, you don't do this job. It's as simple as that. So what I need to do is remove everything. So let's get started. I've never done this before, so let's start at the back of the pack. So we can start with the BMS first. You know what? I just had a package from Amazon come today. I got to show you it. I'm so excited about this. Every man who's ever worked on anything, especially in metric, would love this as a gift. The most awesome gift you can ever get anybody. Whole package of 10 millimeter sockets. Deep well, 12.6 point. I can never find my 10 millimeter. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go. All right, first thing I like to do is disassemble the easy stuff first. Like, we have a plug here. I want to make sure I'm not going to ground anything out. This should push down and then come out. Be able to push. So hard to work with these gloves on, but it's so necessary. There we go. So that's unplugged. I'm gonna check on this. I don't know if this is positive or negative. It's got a line here, a circle there, so copper bar there. I'm going to do a voltage check on this too, because I guarantee you this is super high voltage. Grab my meter. Yep, 191 volts. So again, that is, this whole bank is live. Now it's not reading 360. I guess that'd be 380. This is half of the pack. I don't want this to come into contact with anything else while I'm unscrewing it. Of course, this is not an electrically safe socket set. So, but my gloves are safe. I don't want to set that on top of anything. I'll set it here on the concrete. So I'm going to take this screw off. So what I'm going to want to do is when I pull this off, now disconnected it. This is, again, I'm showing, don't know if this is positive or negative. Don't care. I don't want this thing to arc out. So the abundance of caution. I want to disconnect the other side as well in the same fashion. I have a mounting bolt here. Now this could be ground. This is not electrically safe. So I'm going to put my hand here and stay in between. Again, the abundance of caution, because we are talking a lot of power. There would be I could see where somebody would want to rip their gloves off to be able to grab that. You know. So what I'm doing is every lead I take off of the battery, the modules. Now, mind you, these are connected, right? All together to make this one battery pack. So I don't want any power to come here, this thing to touch anything until I can disconnect the rest of the cables. Oh, brother. Hey, I grabbed it. Perfect. So now I can move these caps back over and then work on the rest of the stuff to try to remove it. Move that cap back over because these are all still tied together. This is still 190 some volts. So this entire battery pack, this module, when I remove it out of here, this thing is still dangerous. Not until I remove this bus bar. Once I remove this bus bar, the danger goes away. All right, continuing on. I'm going to remove these covers because it looks like we have our, maybe some temperature sensors that go on top. Well, might not need to remove those. I can just unplug it. So now I'm just trying to get all these cables out of my way. Hopefully get these out of the way. I can pull these modules, which will not be as heavy as that last one. That one was a bear. Holy smokes. Here we go. And take this little center control module out because I don't know if I need to or not, but not a big deal if I do. Let's get these modules out of my way. All right, I got to figure out how to take this out because I lift it up. I'm going to smack that bracket. So we got to disconnect this, which is pulling bolts off. I think I can just pull this completely out. Let's see what we got going on here.